Assalamu alaikum. In today's lesson, I'm going to teach you the difference between can and be able to. Like this example, I can speak English and I'm able to speak English. What is the difference? I'm going to be focused on the grammatical difference and not the difference in meaning. There is actually a small difference in meaning, but this is not going to be the topic of today's lesson. Today's lesson is going to be all about the grammatical difference between can and be able to. Okay, so let's explain the difference now. Can is limited. We can only use it in three possible situations: in the present, or in the past, or with a future meaning. Like this example, in the present, I can carry 100 kilograms now. This means I have the ability to carry 100 kilograms now. I'm talking about the present. In the past, we changed the form. From can, we make it could. I could only carry 50 kilograms 6 months ago. Okay. We can also use it with a future meaning. Remember that I said a future meaning, but we don't actually change the form of can. Like this example, I can meet you tomorrow if you need me. So it has a future meaning, but it still has the same form. I don't say, for example, I can meet you tomorrow. That's never acceptable. I just use it as it is without any change, but the meaning indicates the future. So can is limited. It's only used in the present or with a past form or the future meaning. That's it. On the other hand, be able to is a lot more flexible. It can be used basically in any tense. You can use it in the future. I'll be able to buy a car when I save enough money. Will be able to. Never say I can. That's never acceptable grammatically. Never. Use it in any tense, like the present perfect. Luke has been able to swim since he was 3. Never say Luke can swim. That's never acceptable grammatically. You can also use it after a preposition, like to. I'd like to be able to play chess one day. Never say I'd like to can play chess one day. Never acceptable. You can use it after another verb. I love is a verb. So you can say I love being able to stay in bed on Friday. Never say I love can. Never acceptable. Use it with the past perfect. Fortunately, he had been able to sell all his belongings before he immigrated. In the same way we use it with the present perfect, you can also use it with the past perfect. But never say, fortunately, he can. That never works. Let's take some exercises. Only when we do exercises will you be able to understand in a better way. Here in this part, all you have to do is to use be able to. Just be able to, not can. I just want you to practice using be able to. Use it in the affirmative or the negative or question form. Okay, so all you have to do is to complete the blanks here with the correct form of be able to, not can. Okay, grab a pen and a piece of paper and write down the answers. And then in a few seconds, I'm going to show you the correct answers. Okay, time for me to show you the answers now. Her cell phone has been turned off all morning, so I haven't been able to talk to her yet. Why we use the present perfect? Because we have the word yet. Usually the word yet is an indicator of the present perfect. So that's how we form the present perfect. Haven't been able to talk to her yet. I don't like noisy restaurants. I like being able to have a conversation without shouting. We have a verb, which is like. So after this verb, we're supposed to use the verb plus ing, be plus ing. I will be able to leave home when I get a job. That's the future. So we're supposed to use will. We're having a party next Saturday. Will you be able to come? That's a question. So make sure that you start with will. Don't say you will be able to come. That's not grammatically accurate because you're trying to form a question. If you're trying to form a question, start with will. Will you be able to come? Number 5, you need to be able to swim before you can go in a canoe. We use to. Why? Because after need, you're supposed to use to plus the infinitive. You may ask me, why do we use to here after need? And after like, we use the verb plus ing. Because that's it. Some verbs take the verb plus ing and other verbs take to plus the infinitive. This is how it works. Okay, let's take more exercises. You need to do the same thing. You need to complete using the affirmative or negative or question form. Grab a pen, as I said, and a piece of paper, write down the answers, pause the screen so you can take your time, and then I will show you the correct answers. Okay, let's take a look at the right answers now. I'm going to France next week, but I don't speak French. I hate not being able to communicate with people. After hate, you're supposed to use the verb plus ing. Number 7, fortunately, firefighters have been able to. You can use the present perfect here in the situation or the past simple. Both are acceptable. Rescue all the people trapped inside the burning house. Number 8, I'm very sorry, but we will not be able to go to your wedding next month. Future. I'm feeling a little worse. Have you been able to contact the doctor yet? We are supposed to use the present perfect because we have the word yet, and we're supposed to make a question. So if you're making a question, start with the auxiliary verb, start with have. Have you been able to contact the doctor yet? Don't say you have been able. No, that's not correct because you're making a question. Number 10, the manager will not be able to or isn't able to see you right now because he's in a meeting. If you choose isn't able to, no problems because you're thinking about the present, it's okay. You could also use the future. You could also say will not be able to see you right now. Okay, let's take more exercises. Now, here in this exercise, all you have to do is to choose the correct form. And in some cases, both are acceptable. Like if you look at number 1, my little boy couldn't speak until he was almost 2 years old, or he wasn't able to speak until he was almost 2 years old, or both are acceptable. Take your time, think about it. Pause the screen, please. Okay, I will show you the correct answers now. Number 1, both are acceptable. Couldn't speak until he was almost 2 years old, that's right, and wasn't able to speak until he was almost 2 years old, that's also right. She's much better after her operation. She will, never say will can, never do that, never acceptable. So you say she will be able to walk again in a few months. Number 3, he hasn't been able to, never say he hasn't could, never acceptable. That's not correct. Hasn't been able to fix my bike yet. Number 4, it's the weekend at last. I love being, never say I love can. That's never acceptable. I love being able to go out with my friends. When we lived on the coast, we used, I'm sorry, it should be used. I made a mistake. We used to can, or we used to be able to go to the beach every day. We used to be able to go to the beach every day. Never say we used to can. That's never acceptable. And remember that there is a D here. Okay. Let's continue practicing. Do the same thing. You have to choose the correct form, and in some cases, both might be acceptable. Okay, let's take a look at the answers. In this situation, both are acceptable. I can't, or I'm not able to send my emails right now, or any emails right now. My computer is not working. You can say I can't, or I'm not able to. I could, or I was able to read before I started school. Both are acceptable, no problems. We won't be able to. Never say we won't can. Never acceptable. Number 9, Linda hasn't been able to. That's right, and this is also right. There's nothing wrong with saying Linda hasn't been able to find a job and Linda couldn't find a job. No problems. Number 10, Alex can speak Korean or is able to speak Korean. No problems. Both are acceptable. Let's take more exercises. Here in this part, this is hard. You need to think. You need to look at these sentences and decide, do they have any grammatical mistakes? If they do have some grammatical mistakes, go ahead and correct them. Okay. Pause the screen now to take some time to think. Okay, I'm going to show you the answers. First of all, I can run much faster than now when I was young. No, you should say I could run much faster than now when I was young because we're talking about the past. You can't use can with the past like that. I can work overtime tomorrow. No mistakes. I can work overtime tomorrow. We said that can be used with a future meaning. I work hard to can. Never use can after to. I work hard to be able to afford money to buy food for my children. Number 4, I've been able to swim since I was 5. No mistakes, no problems. Number 5, he were not able. No, he wasn't able. Remember to use was with he and she and it and I to come to my party yesterday. Okay, let's take more exercises. Do the same thing. If there are any grammatical mistakes in these sentences, please correct them. Okay, I will show you the answers. To work for this company, you must can. No, never acceptable. Never use can after must. You must be able to speak at least 3 languages. I've never could. Never acceptable. I've never been able to. That's not right. Number 8, I may can. Never use can after may or must or any of the other models or will. Never do that. I may be able to come to your party if I have some free time. Number 9, sorry, I've been so busy that I couldn't call until now. No mistakes. No mistakes. Number 10, we are really sorry we wasn't able to come to your wedding. No, we weren't able to come to your wedding. Remember, don't use was unless the subject is he or she or it or I. I hope today's lesson was useful. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.